What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a Chicago Bulls and Minnesota Timberwolves game reaction as the Chicago Bulls and the Minnesota Timberwolves put on one hell of a game to end off the regular season. Both teams are going to be heading into the NBA playoffs now. Timberwolves will be in the play-in, the Bulls will be in the playoffs, and it's going to be a very fun time throughout the whole stretch of these next couple of games and these next couple of weeks. I'm excited to be in the playoffs again. I don't know if I have much faith in this team at the moment to really deliver a competitive series, but that playoff experience is going to be very valuable, especially for these young guys, especially the ones that really played in today's game against Minnesota. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls game today. Who was your player of the game, and how important is it to see these types of guys that maybe doesn't get enough minutes on the team, maybe is not used in the correct ways, have good games in this game against Minnesota, and potentially gives them that confidence to step up in a playoff series like we will have in the NBA playoffs. We won this game, sorry. I'm used to saying that we lost, but we won this game 124 to 120. Again, look, was it perfect? Absolutely not. There was so many things that went wrong this game. Of course, Minnesota didn't have their best team out there, neither did the Bulls. This was a bunch of really good role players coming into the game and playing well for both teams. That's kind of how the game went. Timberwolves definitely didn't have their strongest team out there, but they had far from their worst team out there either. And it was the same with the Bulls. We didn't play our G League guys that much. We played role players that we'd expect to play. Very, I guess, even game, balanced game. But we had a very strong first half to the game, and they almost secured a 28-point comeback. We were dominant in the first half, and it was beautiful to see. And I find it hard to believe that the stars of this team watching this game can't take a thing or two out of this game from what the role players were doing. Ball movement, transition play, defense, rebounding. All of them were very good success stories for the Chicago Bulls today. So I'm hoping that the stars like Vucevic, like Zach LaVine, I think Kobe White was at the game as well. A couple of guys didn't make it, unfortunately, to Minnesota. But I hope the guys that were watching it really took notes and really took ideas on how we can actually use our strengths and make them the opponent's weaknesses, such as running out and transition. That's a very simple thing, but it works out so well for the Chicago Bulls. The NBA playoffs is a different environment entirely. Of course, I'm not going to say that we can run out and transition all game against a team like the Bucks, who we will be facing in the NBA playoffs, by the way. Let me know in the comments below what you think about that as well. But the role players have set an example here. They've set the tone for the Chicago Bulls. And I hope when we verse in Game 1 in the NBA playoffs, we'll be traveling to Milwaukee. We'll be versing them. It's going to be a great crowd for over there. Always has been. They have a very passionate crowd. You're also going to see a lot of Bulls fans there as well. Their home game is not necessarily our away game because we are very close in terms of the difference between Milwaukee and Chicago. It's a very close, very, I guess, attendable game for the Chicago Bulls fans to attend as well. So it's going to be a very interesting playoff series, and I hope in Game 1 we can set that tone. We can set that tone defensively, we can set that tone offensively, and we'll see what we can do in the NBA playoffs. We'll have to wait and see. I'm not banking on a competitive series. I'm praying that we can get one out of this team, but at the end of the day, I'm not too sure. I honestly cannot say with a full heart of heart that I know exactly what I feel when it comes to the NBA playoffs, but we'll worry about that in a week's time. Let's talk about this game today. We got two players that got career highs for the Chicago Bulls today, and I'm very, very proud to say that they're both of our, I guess, younger players, ladies and gentlemen. Ayo Dosunmu, one hell of a point guard that has been put into the fire this season and had a really strong game. Turnover-wise, not the best for anybody on this game. Again, it wasn't perfect. We saw, again, Minnesota come back from 28 points down. We saw 22 or more turnovers in the game. We saw a couple of times where we remained stagnant and stuff like that. Defensively in the fourth quarter really let us down. We weren't perfect. I'm not going to say we were perfect. That's naive. And this game didn't mean much for any of us to say we had a perfect game out here. But it's a very important game for guys like Ayo and for guys like Patrick Williams, for guys like Troy Brown Jr. Because at the end of the day, these are going to be the guys. Derrick Jones as well off the bench. These are going to be the guys that we're going to have to rely on to step up, because they're going to have the game plan for DeMar. They're going to have the game plan for Zach. They're going to let Vooch shoot threes. But the other guys, Patrick Williams, Ayo, Kobe, Troy Brown, Derrick Jones, Javonte, whoever's playing in the rotation, even Tyler Cook, who I can really see playing some minutes in this Milwaukee Bucks series, all of them are going to have to step up in one way or another. So a game like this is very important in that avenue. It doesn't mean much to me in terms of if we lost the game, because at the end of the day, it means nothing. We're still going to verse the Bucks. We're still in the 6th in the Eastern Conference. We're not versing our best team, and we're not versing Minnesota's best team. The win doesn't mean much to me, but the importance of these guys stepping up and developing as young guys, and we're going to need them to step up in the playoffs, and having that confidence in them to win a game like this and to step up brings great hope, in my opinion, that maybe there can be some competitive series. Maybe our bench can match their bench. Maybe we can see step-ups from guys that we should be seeing step-ups from. Again, I've lost faith that we'll make it competitive, but that is something that does make it an interesting series if we are going to be competitive in it. Let's look at the individual performances. Again, it's the last game of the season. We won the game, and a lot of these guys had great games, so I don't want to disrespect and not really talk about it. So, Ayo Dosunmu with 26 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals in the game. Again, a career high in points for Ayo Dosunmu with 25 points. He stepped up in some really big occasions, made some big threes, got down to the lane a little bit at the end of the game as well. Ayo was very clutch in today's game. He played 44 minutes in the game as well. We had a very small rotation on our side compared to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So a lot of our, I guess, better players got the big minutes in today's game. So Ayo did a really good job. He made sure the pressure didn't get to him. It wasn't a perfect game. None of these guys had perfect games, but that's definitely something that we could see as very valuable if he's able to make the big shots, able to take some big shots and be able to be aggressive in the NBA playoffs, because Ayo's the type of guy that is fairly efficient when he does want to score. So when he is aggressive, that's probably the best version of Ayo that we're going to see. But then you got Patrick Williams, 35 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block in today's game. Now, Patrick Williams was outstanding today. This is the Patrick Williams that's the glimpses that we see out of him. And the aggression is not always there. The aggression may take a long time to really get underneath Patrick Williams, that he has to be aggressive and he can be this type of player every single night on the court. That might take a little bit of time to put into Patrick Williams, but these are the glimpses of the games that we see out of him that makes us so excited as fans. 14 free throws for Patrick Williams, a career high. 47% efficiency on 21 shots. And he was absolutely dominant in today's game. No one on Minnesota could really guard him. They resulted in fouling. He's a bigger body and he's aggressive. And he used his aggressiveness to full effect in today's game. The physicality that he plays when he's attacking the basket is sensational. I don't see that out of Zach when I see Zach drive to the basket. I don't see that from anybody from this team when they drive to the basket. Patrick Williams has a level of physicality to his game when he wants to use it that's outstanding to watch. But these are things that I want to see continue to develop with Patrick Williams, because it's great now. He's got a career high in points. He was phenomenal. He had 5 points taken away from him at the end of the day as well. This guy could have had 40 if everything went his way. But unfortunately, things did not go his way in that avenue, but we won the game and he was a big part of it. I'd love to see that aggressiveness right into the NBA playoffs. I hope the coaching staff sees this game out of Patrick Williams and gives him some plays, allows him to be a little bit more of this type of player. I'm not expecting 35 points from Patrick Williams every night. I'm not really expecting a 25 or a 20-point game from Patrick Williams every night. But I want an aggressive Patrick Williams. Everybody on the Bulls fan base wants an aggressive Patrick Williams, and I hope the coaching staff can find a way to allow Patrick Williams to play his game. As much as DeMar and Zach and Vucevic are going to be our offensive priorities, that will never change in terms of this season. Patrick Williams should not be ignored. Guys like Kobe White either should not be ignored. But Patrick Williams has an efficiency to his game that I really respect, and his aggressiveness really shows. He can get some easy points the way that he likes to shoot the ball as well. Not everybody can guard Patrick Williams. So I'd love to see a very aggressive version of Patrick Williams. And if we get that in the NBA playoffs, that's just another level of his development that he's going to achieve. I really, really enjoyed his game today. Javonte Green, 8 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. A couple of times where Javonte Green was a bit hesitant to shoot. There were a couple of times where he didn't even look at the rim, or he's just passing it as soon as he gets the ball. But 4 from 8 from the field today, 50%. 0 from 2 from the three-point line. So Javonte's going to be in a situation in the NBA playoffs where he's going to be in the corner and he's going to be open all game. He has to start knocking them down. He has to start shooting them, and he has to start knocking them down. We have to make the defense pay, and it's a half-court set game in the NBA playoffs. You have to take what the defense gives you, and you need to be able to knock down those shots consistently. We have to make sure that we can make the Milwaukee Bucks and any team we verse after that, if we qualify into the second round, even if we don't, whoever we're going to be versing, we have to make teams scramble on the defensive end. We have to make teams guard the corners, guard the perimeter, guard the paint, guard the mid-range. We have to make sure that we have a diversity in how we score, and Milwaukee can't predict how we're going to end up using our players and how we're going to be able to score the ball. So the corner three is going to be open for the first 2 games at least in the NBA playoffs. You got to make those shots, and I think Javonte is going to be has to be that guy. Same with Patrick Williams, same with Io, but Javonte is mainly going to be that guy that's going to be open, and he has to knock them down. Troy Brown Jr. with a double-double today, ladies and gentlemen. 17 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Probably the hardest working player on the court today was Troy Brown Jr. Again, he's not the tallest guy. He's not the most muscular guy. But he's out there competing for rebounds. And every single rebound he got was sensational, in my opinion. 2 from 6 from the three-point line. He was fairly aggressive in today's game as well, with 7 of 13 of shooting. It's a good game from Troy Brown Jr. It's a great game from Troy Brown Jr. This might be a game that can give him a little bit of playing time in the NBA playoffs. Again, these guys don't get a lot of minutes, so they have to work 10 times harder to earn their minutes. And if Troy Brown Jr., after this game, earns minutes in the playoffs, he'll have to do the same thing there. Because every person that comes into the NBA playoffs has to capitalize on their minutes. We saw Troy Brown in the last game of the season against a fairly average Minnesota team play really, really well. It's time to see if he can even take a glimpse of what we saw from Troy Brown Jr. today into the NBA playoffs, and I think he'll be very good for us there. I'm not sure if he's going to get the minutes. Again, I think our rotation is going to be set. But if he does get those minutes, it's going to be interesting to see what he could do on the court. Tristan Thompson, 10 points, 5 rebounds. To be honest, I expected a little bit more out of Tristan Thompson today, in all honesty. But he only played 15 minutes. I guess he is resting up for the NBA playoffs as well. But yeah, I would have loved to see him get a little bit more game time. I would have loved to see him get a little bit more in, I guess, his bag and get like maybe a 15-point and 10-rebound game. He's the starting center. They're not really versing a big lineup out there. He could bully anybody on the Minnesota Timberwolves team that really was there. So a bit unfortunate, but at the end of the day, if you don't play the minutes, you're not going to get the stats. He only played 15 minutes, and I think for the 15 minutes, he played very well. But also, I would have loved to see him get more minutes and just be a little bit more in his bag. And I think he could have done it today, in all honesty. Derrick Jones Jr. had 12 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. Derrick Jones Jr. capitalized on his 3-pointers today. He took 5 shots, 2 of them from the 3-point line, and he knocked both of them down. Again, the 3-point shooters off this team will have to make them pay. Javonte, Patrick, Io, Kobe, Derrick Jones Jr. will all have to make them pay if we're going to win any of these games. And those are the guys that are going to be open at the 3-point line. We got to make the Milwaukee Bucks pay for leaving them open. And today, we saw he made 2 of 2. 1 of them was contested as well. Let's see what he can do in a week's time in the NBA playoffs. Hopefully, he can knock them down. Hopefully, he can make the defenses pay. Tony Bradley, 11 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist in the game with a block as well. I thought he was fantastic. Again, I didn't expect 11 and 8 from Tony Bradley. He only played 14 and a half minutes in today's game. So it was really, really good. What I saw from him was good. I still think he's not going to get minutes in the NBA playoffs. I feel like his athleticism has completely lost him as well. I remember Tony Bradley, when he was on other teams, really have a good ability to run the floor and to be aggressive and to be a little bit more athletic than what he's showing on the Chicago Bulls. I don't know if that back injury has permanently kind of stunted that for him. I'm not really sure. Again, bigger guys, when they get injuries, sometimes it does take a negative effect and a permanent effect on people. It's very hard to recover sometimes, and especially when you lose a little bit of that athleticism as well. But he has the ability to knock down the mid-range, which is very good as well. I could see Tony Bradley maybe for a 2 to 5 minute stretch come into a game just to knock down that mid-range shot. If he could do that consistently, I could see him coming in for a 2-minute stretch just to try and see if that shot's available to him. Because I can guarantee you, not many teams will be prepared for that. So again, you got to be surprises. You got to have surprises under your sleeve. You got to make adjustments. This could potentially be an adjustment that we make where we could see Tony Bradley try and shoot that mid-range. And if it falls, then maybe we could keep on playing him. If it doesn't fall, then of course he'll sit out for the rest of the game, most likely. Malcolm Hill, 2 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. Not a great game from Malcolm Hill, to be honest, with 12 minutes played. And he had a couple of defensive lapses as well in the game. But again, he doesn't play a lot. I don't expect him to really make an impact in the NBA playoffs either. Tyler Cook, 3 points, 1 rebound. He's a G League guy at the end of the day. He played a couple of minutes. Nice pick and roll that got into the... he got into the basket, got it done, 3-point play, makes the free throw. That's really all he contributed to the game. That's out of some fairly decent defense as well. Moving into the must improve, I'm not going to give a must improve in today's game. I don't think it's really worth it, nor is it necessary to do. The player of the game for me is the Patrick Williams, and this is why I wanted to do the individual performances, and I really wanted to give Patrick Williams a player of the game award because my goodness was he fantastic in today's game, and he thoroughly deserved every single bit of the points that he got. No one could guard him on Minnesota. He got fouled constantly. He made some big three-point shots. He made his mid-ranges. He got to the foul line. He was aggressive. He got to the paint. Has really nice body control. Made some really nice, tough layups. It's an incredible game from Patrick Williams. And again, I don't expect 35 points in the NBA playoffs from Patrick Williams. I don't expect a 25-point night from Patrick Williams, but I expect an aggressive Patrick Williams. I expect him to take 10 or more shots every single game in the NBA playoffs. I expect him to be a guy where if Vucevic is not scoring, or if Zach isn't scoring, or if DeMar isn't scoring, Patrick Williams comes in and he makes some buckets for us. He's a diverse player, and in my opinion, he could very much be the key into us having a competitive series, because you're not going to get a great game from DeMar every game, and you're not going to get a great game from Levine every game. But if you can get a consistent, aggressive Patrick Williams that drops maybe 15 points in this playoff series every single night, that's dangerous for the Chicago Bulls. Even if we have our best three really playing well, and you see Patrick Williams do something like that, we are a dangerous team. And we're going to need a couple of those spark plugs type players that fills in the gaps when star players are not performing. So let's see what Patrick Williams can do. Let's see what the Chicago Bulls can do. Again, our record doesn't really matter. We are 10 games over 500 with 46-36. Our next game is going to be against the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA playoffs. Stay tuned for that. We're going to have a week off for the play-in games. We're going to be seeing the East and the West, 7 to 10 seeds, battling it out to get their seeds in place to verse the top of the East and top of the West. It's going to be a fun time. A couple of games where you could be a fan, you could be a neutral, and just enjoy the games. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm going to enjoy this week off because I know the intensity, the I guess atmosphere, it's going to get to a lot of people. It's going to get to me as well. I'm going to feel emotionally, I guess, invested in a game like the Milwaukee Bucks and a series like the Milwaukee Bucks, as I expect every single Bulls fan to be. Even if we suck or we play well, I know a lot of us are going to be emotionally invested in it. So we'll wait and see what the Bulls can do in the NBA playoffs and against the Milwaukee Bucks. I'll probably make a video more in detail about how Milwaukee can take advantage of us and how we could probably take advantage of the Bucks. And we'll see. And I'll also get a predictions video out there of what I think will happen. But thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video, ladies and gentlemen. The end of the regular season has come upon us. Last year, after the end of the regular season, I was out here making review videos. I was talking about people's individual seasons. Thankfully, I get to hold off on that a little bit longer because our season is not over yet. And that makes me very, very happy. But at the end of the day, we'll just have to hopefully have some sort of momentum go our way and we can make this competitive. We'll wait and see. Take care and peace.